Welcome to everyone, and thank you for joining this Segen JA Solar joint webinar to look more closely at this important topic and JA's response to it. As you're all aware, in 2021, the industry was thrust into the limelight for all the wrong reasons through the Sheffield Hallam report. Clearly, with an industry which is reliant on global supply and with a finite amount of more localised product, this is a monumental risk to our industry and one that we take very seriously. We want to ensure stability, durability, quality and ethics in our supply chain, and we want you, our customers, to be able to give that to your customers so that they have security in the ongoing supply chain. We want your customers to be able to understand the provenance of their chosen product. This is a matter that Segen takes very seriously, and in my role as non-executive director for Solar Energy UK, I was able to bring it to the fore quite early on, which resulted in SE UK and Solar Power Europe establishing the Solar Stewardship Initiative, of which Segen and JA were founders. I also chair the Supply Chain and Innovation Subgroup of the Government Solar Task Force. And with SE UK and the government, it's our aim to ensure that the government fully endorses the SSI and uses it as an example of best practice for other industries. Because let's face it, this is a world trade issue. It's not just a solar issue. Solar is very much used as a scapegoat to draw attention to this serious matter. JA Solar have partnered with Segen since 2011, and they're a trusted supplier of ours. They're one of the largest and most responsible solar manufacturers in the world, and their products make up over 80% of our portfolio, and the majority of UK residential and commercial scale installs. I'd now like to hand over to JA to take you through their presentation.
Thank you, Liz, for that introduction and kind words about JA Solar. This webinar, as you described, concerns itself with the PV supply chain, and as you described, it deals with the questions that have come up on PV and also other clean energy products about the provenance or where the supply chain is, and what information can be given and trusted around the supply chain on the products. As said by Liz, especially can come to a question towards larger module manufacturers as ourselves. We mentioned in reports, we have the biggest visibility. The request often comes from large corporates, government funded work, but not only, it can be for any persons or companies with stakeholders related to interested in ESG, CSR, forced labor topics. We also have to keep our eyes on upcoming or maturing due diligence law or even product bans. In general, there's an increased need for traceability and transparency through the supply chain. And this is what we're going to tackle here with this new product range. The JA response then is first to make a note that large manufacturers can be sometimes the ones in the limelight and seeming to have the problem, but in fact, it's the large manufacturers who can create the solution to the questions of traceability and supply chain visibility. That is because, as we'll see, we have high levels of integration. We therefore can manage our own production. We have a higher control over our supply chain, and we have the resources, just in general resources such as compliance teams, product marketing and customers who can help us through this journey. The traceability also offers an opportunity for suppliers and the customer to learn more about the products. We know more about our supply chain. We know more. We're able to measure and track and improve carbon footprint. It helps our customers to do their due diligence for their own projects or the projects they're bidding on more effectively and easily. And it creates a competitive advantage, speaking objectively, for JA, for Segen and for Segen's customers, that we have this product line and information for the customers that is beyond what is at the moment market standard. In all regards, we can only roll out a program if it fits a certain benchmarks, which is that it should be trustable, it should be trackable, and it should be scalable. That's the kind of product program that we have to create, otherwise we can't. The response from JA Solar then is to create the ITS product line. ITS is an acronym that just means Integrated Traceability System. And the ITS system will have different layers of assurances and procedures for us to provide the security that the materials which are used in this product are only sourced from pre-designated regions, which will be coming from China and are the regions which are Jiangsu, Qinghai, Sichuan, and Inner Mongolia, and not any other regions, which we can see here. This is not a new experience for JA Solar at the utility project level for large corporates, large utility ground-mounted sites across Europe and the world. We've been doing a separate production line and product line for more than 3 years. Now we are looking to roll this out onto a complete and larger scale. First of all, I'm going to talk a little bit about the levels of assurances that we can give to the client that what we are saying on the provenance of the materials will be true. First of all, JA Solar we describe ourselves as a factory. The factory, that is our competence. It's our USP. We have a very strong supply and factory situation. We are one of the largest integrated suppliers, and that means we have the largest percentage of integration. That means that the modules you buy from JA, in fact, it's 100% in Europe. The modules that you buy in Europe from JA will be made with JA cells, JA wafers, JA ingots only. At the same time, it means that we do not rely on any external cells or wafers. Also, because we control the incoming materials, we have direct contact and communication and large leverage over our external silicon suppliers. This situation of having a complete integration is not the case for smaller manufacturers, and it's also not always the case for larger ones. I'd suggest there are only 3 or 4 who can boast to have such a system. Having such an integration means we have that control. We can follow the source of the material, the silicon, if you imagine the atom of the silicon can be moved following this yellow line through, and we know exactly where it is because there's no external supply coming in. This, by the way, is a representation where the bluey gray ones are JAs. It's not our total supply chain, it's some of them. And this one is the external supply, that being the region where the module, the polysilicon is coming. Having an integrated system means that then it's easy to track the silicon moving through our internal supply chain. For those a bit more technically minded or who care about this, one of the reasons is that from the ingot factory, as we go to the wafer as well, we only produce one type of cell, and that is cut symmetrically and asymmetrically to create all our different products. It means that we only need to control the incoming here, and that we know that within that system, we can cut and move the different cells. So it means that we can just use 1 or 2 ingot factories and have a full control through the system there to know where the product is moving, and that there won't be any other type of material from another region or another supplier that's not on our approved list of silicon suppliers. Inside a supply chain, there is a traceability system, and that can be monitored by things like ERP and MES systems, computer systems, internet systems. And then there's also manual checks, and we have labeling, identification systems, and also warehouse and management procedures. So this traceability system, which means the ability to trace the silicon through the supply chain from the silicon up to the module into the customer's hand, has been third-party tested many times at many different levels by different third-party agencies such as STS, TUV, CEA, and recently Sinovoltaics. And these audits are available, some at a charge, some at not, some at different levels. And we're also working now with Sinovoltaics to create a full wrap audit and system for the customers, which I'll explain a bit later. The ITS product, also the next layer of assurance, is the label. So on the label of the module, at the backside on where the serial number is, there is a label there. So you have to kind of see what it is. It's the example here would be ITSC 1114. And that is just a label that declares that this product that you have in your warehouse or you're installing was made under the ITS system. As a reference, what does it mean? The ITS is just the name of the product. C means customized silicon. So it was used designated silicon. In the future, we'll also have a code for the different suppliers of the silicon, but that's not ready yet. And then each code there represents the factory that it was made. So for example, JA's Balto factory would be 1. If it was another factory like Dongtai, it would be 2, for example, and it has a code there. Also on the pallet, at the code, on the paper, there's a little ITS badge there. It's just another layer of assurance, so you don't have to take it on trust that this is created using the ITS system. You can check it. It also has another advantage that it reduces the risk of products not from this system or even not real systems entering the market. Or entering into, for example, Segen's warehouse or someone else's warehouse. So they can only be another level of assurance that they're coming from only products made by JA under this system. So the ITS product is actually not new. Those who are very interested in this product may have known that this was actually launched in 2023. We did it on one product line. So we had the JAM 66S30MR. There's normally the 500 watt peak, which was for commercial, and that was made with designated polysilicon suppliers only. Segen then requested from us in dialogue with their clients that we would do it on more product lines or all product lines, including black modules. They wanted us to be a bit more open on this topic. Okay, here we are talking on a webinar. They wanted clear marking on the modules as well as on the pallets. And they wanted us to go out and create the standard for the market. So here we are. So it is so that since the end of 2023, the ICS product range is implemented on all of JA Solar products that are in production for Segen. So the entirety of the production is now ITS. I should caveat that Segen and JA do have some stock items which may be not produced under this system. Of course, they'll be sold and phased out, but they may exist today. But new production is strictly under this system. So there should be no need for future compromises. That means that all products, such as the JAM 40, D40, the D41, the new 520 white module for commercial, and any other larger formats for utility, and then also P-type, for as long as it's still produced, is also made under this system, including the traditional 66S3500. That's the main part about it. I just want to make a few notes on generally supply chain due diligence and JA Solar's approach to this in 2024 and beyond. There's certain legislature, laws, legal work that we follow. It is particularly based in the EU, European, but it creates the compliance framework which we follow. And it, let's say it's not just the clients who are, we are following and their requests, it's also upcoming laws. So we can say that, traditionally, let's go 3 or 4 years ago, everyone was business as usual. We sold modules and you bought them, and that was the end of it. Now, as we enter into this current phase, for the better, we have had to adapt to be, a sustainability leader in our means and our communication. So, for example, we have a strict code of conduct for JA Solar, which covers all CSR, labor law, requirements, anti-corruption on the code of conduct. And then we also have a JA Solar supplier code of conduct, which we have our suppliers must sign up to, which also means that according to international and JA Solar's own code of conduct for labor practices and such, they have to sign up to, and we also audit them. As we go into a transformation period, which we are now, there's different proposed due diligence directives and product bans, which we have to look at, which as we come out the other side, we should be having the goal of us being a sustainable company with positive impacts. Where we are today, we're a UN Global Compact member, as Liz said. We're also in the Solar Security Initiative. We're one of the founding sponsors and founding auditors. We do third-party audits. We allow third-party audits on our internal supply chains from ESG, technical, and due diligence. And we are doing and allow third-party tests on our suppliers, which can be ESG and traceability audits. And we've also achieved SA 8000 certification. Some notes about the due diligence approach that we take and that we promote our customers to consider is that we have to look at the supply chain and identify where the ethical standard risks exist. And then based on that, we will engage with the supply chain to look for continuous improvements. And then we will keep demanding more transparency. The concept is to keep at all points to go deeper and to go to greater level in a methodical and continuous and accountable way through the supply chain, knowing more. And this is the basis of standard due diligence approach. What it isn't, Europe at least, is a black and white ban, let's say, on supposed risk, a guilty until proven innocent approach, which isn't conducive to creating a proper due diligence system. Some of the laws that are coming up in the Europe, which may interest you, even though we're stood here in the UK, but does drive the work that we have to do. And if we don't start this work now, we can face potential issues in the future. That is particularly is the Sustainable Due Diligence Directive, is a proposed EU directive. It's having a bit of trouble now actually going through the Commission. It's still not implemented, and even if it is implemented, it'll take some time, but it will require quite strict and proper reporting obligations for both the supplier and the buyer. And the buyers will also have to be aware of their ESG risk in their buyers and their sellers. They also have managing directors liability. Another distinct proposal, which is also still in draft phase, is the forced labor product ban, which is a proposal to end products which are using forced labor from all parts of the world to be used in the EU, also within the EU. And that would be enforced at the national level. It's pending formal adoption and would also have an adjustment period. In any case, this is something that we have to get ready for, and we have to be equipped. And the larger suppliers, such as JA Solar, are the ones with the resources and the integration and the supply chain management that will be equipped to do this. Sometimes, a supply chain that comes from maybe Europe or even outside of China generally uses Chinese material anyway. That's the reality of the supply chain. If it doesn't, it's more expensive or limited in capacity because it's sold to the US. So the Chinese manufacturers such as JA Solar have to get on top of this and be ahead of it. And we don't see this as a problem, as a risk. It's a challenge and can be good for the industry. The future of ITS could be interesting. One of the things we are working to do is that we will be able to create reports for the clients based on their serial number, what supply chain they used, what carbon footprint. We also want to look at going further into the supply chain because polysilicon is the main thing, the main component that we buy, but also behind that there is other materials which make up that. This material, the solar PV, is not the only. That is not polysilicon used used for PV is not the main even customer of these mines and these MGS factories. So they're not completely used to the topic that we're talking and used to this request. So it is a process of communication and training. Luckily, we have that power and we've initiated those requests and those dialogues are starting. So when it comes to the time that we can include also going further down the supply chain, when that approach is traceable, is trackable, is scalable, is reliable, then when that happens, then there'll be a formal approach to add that also to the ITS product. As proof of this, if we need it, we do know and recognize where our lower down the supply chain comes from, the NGS. These are just some of the regions that they come from. So it's not completely unknown, and that system is ongoing. So as I come to the conclusion, what this product range is, what we're talking about is a full range available to Segen of origin traceable modules on all new module types, where a third-party audited traceability system coming from a fully integrated supplier, where it's clearly labeled and that we have a platform for future improvements, and where a product where you can be sure of some of the regions that the product is sourced from and where the supply comes from, and you can eliminate parts of the supply chain from certain regions that you don't want to see. JA Solar and Segen share a shared vision on this, as should be clear from Liz and my speech on this topic. We both have large resources to handle this question. and we are here to set the standard in the market in terms of going all out and producing this product with perfect provenance, with labeling. And it's with that that I conclude my part, and I'll take a look at some of the questions now if there's any that are interesting to answer. We have time, and here is an introduction from Segen.
My name is Brychan. I'm part of the corporate team at Segen. So I know most of you will already have accounts with us. And just before we move on to questions, I just want to point out some of the benefits that you get by trading with Segen. Yeah, so you'll see some of them on the screen now. But I just wanted to touch on a few points really. So obviously last year we did see massive deflation in the solar market, with prices on modules dropping by over 50% in some cases. We're now seeing this year problems in the Red Sea, with ships being attacked and European stock levels drying up slightly. So we're gradually seeing panel prices increase, and the average shipping container cost is going up. So we're just seeing that they're under $5,000 per container now, and delays of over 3 weeks because ships have to go around the Cape of Good Hope in South Africa. So it is likely that we're going to see prices increase. So with Segen, you get 30-day price guarantee on any quote. So just make sure you get your quotes on early, and make sure you're speaking to your account managers as well, because they'll have a view on inbound stock that isn't showing to you guys on the portal. So it's important for you to give them some of your pipelines, especially if those who are doing commercial jobs 3 to 6 months in advance. You need to know what you're quoting with, what's going to be available, and whether a product may be on run out. So we do also have the largest stock holding of any UK distributor. So it is likely we can have a panel that suits your needs. And if you've logged on to the portal recently, you'll have seen we have great inbound availability on all different kinds of modules, especially when it comes to the range offered by JA. We've been working really hard with our global partners to guarantee, disruption is minimal for you installers. So if you haven't logged on to the portal before, your account manager would be more than happy to give you a quick run through. And we also run portal lunch and learn sessions every week on a Friday. But if you want to see the JA range, straight after this webinar, simply just click on the products page on the portal, scroll down, find the JA logo, and click on the image. You'll be able to find the modules you're after, and you can filter by power output, as well as dimensions and the module type. But if you do need a bit more help, just make sure to give your account manager a call. Yeah, we also have some more training events coming up. So keep an eye out on the portal under the training and events tab. We've got a range of webinars that you can sign up to on the portal. So just keep an eye out for them. And thank you. I'll hand over to some questions now.
Yeah, thank you then. So there's just 2 questions here, so I'll have a look. One of them was, can you repeat how far down the supply chain the third-party audit process goes? Does it just cover the internal JA activities, or does it go into the silicon suppliers and their raw material subsidiaries? Okay, it's a good question. I think first of all we should recognize the ITS product as it is now. The point is that it has the silicon material from designated places, right? And that's what it offers and what it creates, and that's the level of, let's say, certified labeled assurance, right? In terms of the question of how far it goes, because this product doesn't go beyond the polysilicon, we're not making like guarantees on anything where the sand comes from or something, but we are, as I said, working on that. However, having said that, we can audit our suppliers with third parties, but that's a work in progress as we go through them and improve that. And it does require them to give us information on their supply as well. But as I said, the traceability systems as we go further down the line are a bit more opaque and need more, need work on. But we'd be happy to give a more detailed, direct answer to that directly to the person who asked that. And then the other question was, is it possible to have a delivery with 2 different ITS codes, or will all the panels have the same code? Good question again. No, that it depends on the production of that time. Normally it's a month. So in general, the product would, it depends where it was made. Normally certain products are made in the same line, and we're actually reducing our production lines that we use, because we're creating closed loop systems. that only use that polysilicon origin. So in general, the ITS codes will stay constant, but they might not. So that's it. I've got another question. Is this product series available only in the UK? No, it's not. Segen is also available, supplies into Europe. So it's for all the supply. Another question here. How often are you conducting third-party inspections? These questions are just coming in now. So on JA's sites, pretty regularly, so much so that we don't really need to commission them ourselves. Although we do, we've just commissioned another round of traceability audits on this thing. So we have no restrictions on third-party inspections at our site. For the suppliers, it's a risk-based approach, but minimum of once a year. Yeah, but as I said, the due diligence is a proper process where you do it according to also risk. So if you see something, then sorry, it's not once every year; it's once every 18 months. But if there's a risk profile higher, then we would go in and do it as well. I think that is the end of the questions. If someone from Segen can nod at me. Yes, it is. Okay, so then we will conclude the webinar here, and thank you very much for your attendance and your interest, and please do contact Segen here for any information. And there is also a PDF guide for this product, the ITS product, which can be available for you to use and to have a reminder, or even to use in your own presentations to your clients. Thank you very much.